Hello everybody, and welcome to the second part of the Modeless Dialog tutorial. In the first part we created the text editor, and if I run it here, this is what we have so far. So here is it, and there is the text. And in the second part here we're gonna start creating the Find dialog. So this is the final product. So what we are aiming here is that we are opening a document, and then using the Find dialog we can go here, and then we can say, let's say ha, and we say find, and it will find ha, another ha, and that's it. And so we are aiming to make this dialog box in this part. So this is going to be interesting, and we want to learn the communication between this dialog and this main program part. I know that many people here are just to learn how to create this dialog and how it communicates with this window. So that's why I'm gonna be nice to you, and I will first only create that one. So I will create this dialog, and I will make it communicate in a very simple way with this white window and communicate back to the dialog, and that's all. And then I will finish. After that, I will finish this a Notepad tutorial, like so that it can find the text. And this is a little bit coding. So if you are only here to find out how to create this modeless dialog and how does it interact with the other window, I will do it first now, and then I will continue and doing the more complicated stuff after that. It is quite interesting creating this text editor, so I recommend to continue more. Okay, so after that, I mean. So let's start. But before I start creating the dialog, there's one thing from last lesson I want to improve. It's this one, this font creation, because this way creating font, this is the old Win API way to create a font. This is not actually MFC way. This is the C programming, Windows C programming way. Actually, I didn't know this, but after the lesson I noticed, hey, this is not MFC really. This is the Win API, so to speak. So let's fix this problem, because there is an easier way to do this. As we can see, we need to destroy the object here, and when we are using the MFC version of the font, we don't need to destroy the object. It will automatically destroy the object, so it's nicer. So the way to do is that we are using this MFC font instead. So we will create a font for the text, obviously. Obviously font for this this document text, but I just call it font. And then the way to create this MFC font is just to say create, and we can say point font. This point font, if we look at the documentation of this one, it's just a much more simple way to create the font, because this is quite complicated way. So we are only passing this one, I mean the size, and this one. Now the size will be like 10 times more. So this is 16, so we need to put 160 here. That's my understanding. So so it works a little bit differently, but it's on. We just need to multiply it by 10. And here we're gonna put the name of the font like it is. So this is it. So it's much easier here. I'm gonna delete this line, and now the way to select the font is a little bit different. We just need to say we need to copy the old font, pointer to the old font. No, actually type it as it is really. So it's a font, actually it's a font pointer what it returns. And now we can say that old font, removing that one, old font will be the return value of the select font again, but this time we will pass a pointer to the font. Pointer to the font. Yes. Pointer to the font. So this is the font object, and the select object is looking for pointer to the font. That's it. Like that. So now the font is selected on the device context, and we don't need to do the deletion because the font object will do that automatically when it's destroyed. Okay, so that's done. So now we can go. Maybe I will run it one more time just to be sure that it still works. And yes, nice one, still works. Now let's go and start creating that find dialog. Find dialog for this text editor, this one. To do that, we will go here and select the resource view, and then we will there's the dialog section. We already have the about dialog, so now we just add insert a dialog. There we go. So this will be our find dialog. So let's start changing it now. How easy it will be, I don't know. First of all, I will just delete this OK button because we're gonna have a find next button, but we will have this cancel button, so I will leave that, and maybe I will just copy that. Well, copy, and then paste, Control V, and let's push them up because they need to be there in the final version. So I'm gonna push this a little bit up already. So first of all, the name of the dialog, let's change it. It needs to be here. Caption will be find. Then the ID of the dialog. Now this is the dialog's properties, so we're gonna scroll down and let's put a nice name here. The nice name will be that will be DLG find. So I will use a shortcut here. It's DLG like a dialog, and find. Enter. And the next thing will be we start adding the elements, the GUI elements. Toolbox here. And if you can't see anything of these, if some of these are missing from here, we can always go here and find them from here. There's a toolbox, for example. And the property windows, you just click this one, any of these, and then you just go here in properties, and it comes there. So that's how we see these windows. We can see those windows. So let's select the toolbox, and now we're going to select the text editor. Text control, sorry, text control. It will be this one, static text, and let's put that value there, which needs to be find what, the same what the Notepad has. Enter. Need to increase a little bit this one, make it that it just fits there like that. Then we need to add the edit box, edit control actually. Put it there, a little bit to the right, and make it big. The next one will be the direction. The direction, if I open just a Notepad, I'll open a Notepad, because we cannot just imitate this Notepad. So let's look at the find. Need to type something first. Yeah, we want to have exactly like this. So we need this group box and up and down options. going to toolbox and let's put the group box there first, all the way there, and change the name of the group box. That will be direction. Enter. And then we will need two of those checkboxes. They are actually called radio buttons. I always get it wrong. My apologies. Maybe a little bit bigger for now to start with. Easier to work if it's a little bit bigger first of all. And the name of this one will be up. Then we're gonna have another one. And the name of that will be down. Enter. Okay. And maybe, so I use the arrow. I select this one and use the arrow to the right a little bit. Push it to the right. And maybe this one also. I can make it a little bit smaller like that and then push it a little bit to the right. Closer. That looks fine. And now how we adjust them so that they are aligned from the top. So select this one, then shift from the keyboard, shift and this one. And from the top here we should be seeing, well now it's here. I need to a little bit open because this is a little bit small, this Visual Studio at the moment, so I need to open it a little bit, but it's there, it's that one. There we go. And I'm gonna push them, both of them, a little bit more to the right. And now this one needs to be aligned with that box, I would say. So select that one and then shift and then I say right, and that's how it goes. And we can make it a little bit thinner, move them a little bit up, a little bit thinner. That looks okay to me. And next the buttons and then save. It's good to save every now and then. So this cancel is fine. We want that cancel button, but this should be called find next. That's why I will be changing that. Find capital letter next, uppercase letter next. And then we're gonna change the ID, not cancelled. And the good ID for that will be that's an interesting question. I think it will be button find next. So IDC button, because this IDC, if we add any other button here, if I add a button here, they will put IDC here. So that's why I'm using the same conversion, same same logic here. Excuse me. IDC and then button. I have my drink here, so just a moment. I need to drink sometimes. My throat sometimes gives me troubles, but so the button, and then we say find next. Perfect. So that will be the ID. Even though we might not need that, I don't remember if we need that ID in this program, but anyway, it's good to have nice names, correct names. Save. Let's now next to this edit box, and that will be called edit find, obviously. The ID of that box will be edit find. The name of that ID will be edit find. Enter. And what else? And then I will create immediately now two buttons, and I will explain what they are. I'm gonna add two buttons here, 1 and 2. Okay, as we can see here, here is the final product again. So what it is that we want to have these two buttons. So this button is that move to start, meaning that the cursor is at the start. So if I search now, I say has, press that, it will go from the top and finds first downwards. And if I press move end, the cursor will be at the end here after the last line. And if I then go up, it will go to the first line from the bottom. So that's what we want. We want these two of these working nicely like this. Let's go and do that. So this will be called move to start. They need to be a little bit bigger, so I go and increase the size. And to make it the same size, this one, and then shift mouse click, and kind of easy to find it from here. Where is it? Horizontal. Oh, I have problems to find that now. Same height. There it is. Same width. That's it. And now I will put it back. Okay, so same width. And this will have a title, move to start. This will be move to end. And now let's change the IDs. It will be called move to start, enter, move to end, enter, and then make it a little bit smaller, this, like it just pushing up, it automatically hits the last control and stops there. Okay, and save. Now it starts looking good now. It's kind of done. I think it's done. This design section is, are these really, yeah, they are aligned. One more thing, we haven't done this one. So this will be called radio radio direction up, radio direction down, enter. now important thing here is that the way this works, I already said this in the other video I made a couple of years ago, that the way this group works is that we need to select the first element, which will be the group element. So this group here, it's false. So the first one needs to be set true. So this one defines the group. So only this one will have the variable. So this will be 0 and this will be 1. We will create a variable for this one, and the MFC automatically joins this one with this one because they are under this group. So it automatically joins them together, and this one needs to be false. So this is important that this is true. And the other important thing here is that we need to now tell MFC that which one is what is the order of these, and it's done by going and set the tab order. So format tab order, and now the tab order needs to be anyway right. So I just now click 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. So this is now the order. If we press the tabulator, this is the order they are going. So it goes first to the edit box, then here. But this needs to be in order. So this needs to be 2, this needs to be 3, or this needs to be 5 and 6, whatever. But they need to be in order such that this is one lower than this one. And then we go format, remove that and save. Now that's done. The next thing to do here is that we need to create the corresponding class for this. This is just telling that how does the dialog look like, and what kind of controls the dialog will be having, and what are the IDs and such things, and colors, and it just defines those kind of things. But the object itself is created by the corresponding class. So we need to create a class, C++ class, and link this one with that class. And from that class we can then create the dialog object, which we will be needing. So the next thing to do is to create the class for this. Add class. And let's do dialog X. I will call it find DLG, like a dialog, and then I press OK. And there we go. Then we go back. I press Control tabulator, going back to the previous window, Control Tab. It doesn't work because we don't have that previous window, so I need to go back here. Sorry, I need to go back and double click that one because we didn't have. But now, as you can now, if I press Control Tab, it goes to previous, and Control Tab again, it goes back here like this. Nice one. I give this for free, this advice. Okay. Okay. So we are back here, and from here now we need to create variables for each of them. We don't have any variables for any of these yet. These are just telling that how does this look, but we need to create a variable for this edit box and for these ones. So left click and add variable, and it will be a value. We don't need control, we don't need Windows access to that one, we only need the value, and that will be an integer, I think so. Sorry, string is what I'm talking about. It will be a string, so this is correct. It will be a string, and we can call it find what string variable. Everything is correct, yes, and then finish. Then we need the variable for this one, and as I said before, we only need to create variable for the first of the options. So we go here and add variable, and that needs to be an integer. So value, it says bool here, but I think it needs to be an integer, and we can call it direction. Direction value, it needs to be value and direction, and then go from there. Good stuff. And the next thing we need to do is that we need to when we press this button, obviously we need to do some action. So we need the event handler for this button press, and also for this one and for this one. So we need to create event handlers for all of these three buttons. This one might already exist, we will check, I don't remember, but let's do these ones first. So double click this one, simple as that. Control tabulator, going back, double click, Control tabulator, going back, double click, and that's it. Let's go back one more time. I can see that there is a typing error there, so save. Okay, and now let's go and see if the cancel handler function is there. So Control tabulator, because I know that we will need that. So it's not there, so that's why I'm gonna create that now. Control tabulator, going back, and double click that cancel, and now we get that handler for the button press. We will come back to this later on how we do this, but let's leave it for now. Okie dokie. So so now we have that one. So next we need to launch this dialog, and as I promised, I will first make a very simple approach that we will just create this modeless dialog, and then we will do very simple interaction between the view window and the dialog, and that's it, and we are able to destroy and things like that. And after that I start implementing the notepad stuff. In order to launch this dialog, we need to have that find menu option the same way as the Notepad has. So we're going back to the resource view, and this time we need to go to that menu. It's this mainframe, and it goes somewhere here. Let's put it at the end. So I just type here find, enter, and I think it's just a good practice to which you just find. Works like that. And then now we need to create the event handler for this find. So when we are pressing this menu, we want to go to a certain function, event handler function, in the view this time. I think the view is the best place to put this event handler. It's most logical in my opinion, because the view is now communicating with the find dialog. So I think the view is the best place. We could put it in other places as well, like in the mainframe or in a document, but I think that the view is logical here. So to do this, we will go and say add event handler, and here we can tell that where does it go, this event handler. And as I said, I will prefer the view, the white window. This is the name of the function, and pressing OK. There we are. So it comes here when we are pressing that menu element. Now next we need to create that window, the find window. And the way I do is I will create a unique pointer for that. So I'm going to the view class, and in order to make a unique pointer, I say include, then memory. This is standard library, C++ standard library programming. I will put it in a private section here because this dialog will be an object. So all the objects normally goes to the private section. And so here we need to type std unique pointer, and we are creating the type of the unique pointer will be the dialog, and the name of that dialog will be find dialog. Okay, and it doesn't see that, so we need to include that find dialog also here. That's done. Okay, the idea is that we are dynamically creating this dialog. When we press that menu element, that's when we will create this dialog object, because this is a pointer now. It's a unique pointer, so the dialog object has not been created by default. We only create it when we need it, and we will destroy this object when we destroy the dialog. Simple as that. Let's not waste memory, you know. So yes, that is the aim. Let's go back now to the view. So here is the place where we need to do that. The way we create that unique pointer is that we will say this one equals to std and make unique, and then we are telling that what kind of pointer we want to create. It will be the what kind of object we will create, a pointer to the object, so it will be this kind of object, and then something like this. Now this line will create the dialog object, but it still doesn't have the window created. This only creates the object, but the window has not been created. The dialog window itself has not been created yet. This find class doesn't automatically create the window. So we need to call the window creation function. Need to call create. Create creates the dialog window, and here we need to pass the ID of that of that dialog, and it's here. We go to the H file, we can find it from here. This is the same as in the resource view. We defined it here. It's the same thing as we defined it here. It's that one over there. So that needs to go there. It's the ID of the resource dialog's resource ID. And then we need to pass the, this is the parent, pointer to the parent window. The parent window is the view here, so that's why I put this. This is a pointer to the view, and that's it. Now, just one thing here before we continue anymore here is that what if we press this menu find many times? So it will go here, it will create the window and show that window, and then what if the user then presses again this one? It will create again a new one. We didn't even delete the old one, it just creates a new one, and probably so it kind of loses the other one, because this make unique deletes the first one and it creates a new one. So there's gonna be kind of a mess up there. So we need to check here that does this find dialog exist? If it does, when we come here, we will do nothing. We only do something if this dialog doesn't exist. So we're gonna check first that is it null, because this is a pointer. This is a pointer, so we are checking that if the pointer is null, that means that it has not been created yet. This would mean that if it exists, then do this one. Yeah, so this means that if it does not exist, then do this one. Yeah, correct. That's how it goes. Okay, and now one more thing is that we go to the dialog's construction function, where so this one is calling the construction function of the dialog. So it goes here, and we need to pass the parent as well there. So the parent will be this again, like that. Now let's think about the communication here. How does the dialog communicate with the view, and how does the view communicate with the dialog? The easy part is that the view has a pointer to the dialog. So if view wants to say something to this dialog, it can use this find dialog pointer. That's easy. But how does the dialog communicate? How does the dialog send message or ask contact the view? The way to do is that we can store a pointer to the view in this dialog class. So let's do that. We can have a private section here somewhere. Find dialog, maybe here. And we can call window. We are storing the parent, pointer to the parent here, so parent. And now if we go to the construction function, we can now store that parent to this member into this member variable. So comma and oh, the comma goes there, and then we can just copy it from the past parameter. So now it's copied. Let's go back here. So when we create this dialog, we are passing a pointer to this view pointer. So the view pointer goes here, and we are copying it into this member variable at the end of the day. So now the dialog can contact, using this pointer, the dialog can contact the view. Now, next thing is that let's talk about the destruction of the find dialog, because when we are pressing the exit cross button or cancel button or some exit button, then the dialog needs to destroy itself. The way it works is that first of all we need to create the cancel handler and the OK handler, because the way it works is that the dialog has OK action when the OK button is pressed, or cancel action when the cancel button is pressed, and the dialog has them automatically inside there somewhere. So we need to provide both of them in order to be sure that this works in all cases. So we need to have the cancel and OK button. But not only that, there is one other function we need to put here, and it's called the last message. When the Windows is about to be deleted, it will send a last message, and we need to handle that one as well. I will do that one first. So I go here, there, and let's find that message. Actually, it's not a message we override. It's an overridable function, so it's the last one overrides. So this function will be called just after the window has been destroyed. The Windows 10 window has been destroyed. As I said, we need this one, so I'm gonna put that one there as well. I jumped there, and then property, yeah, there we are. And now we need also that it's called on this one, called after the window has been destroyed. So the window has already been destroyed when we come here. So let's see what we're gonna do here. First of all, this OK and cancel, we are not calling any parent class versions, because we know exactly what we are doing here. We don't need to call anything here at this point. So what we want to do here is that we want to just simply destroy the window. Meaning that if the cancel button is pressed or cancel action is pressed, any kind of cancel action, then we will tell that okay, we want to destroy this window. And all the OK, the same thing. We want to destroy this find dialog window. And when the find dialog window is in a process of destroying, at the end of that it will call this virtual function. So that's why here we can destroy, and here we can arrange the destruction of this object. There are two things involved here. It's the window of this find dialog, the Windows window, and then there is this find dialog object. The find dialog object is created here, and actually that window is created here. So there are two different things involved here. There is the window, and then there is the object, the find dialog object. We need to destroy both of them. So this one makes sure that the Windows is destroyed, and at the end of that Windows destruction it will go here, and here we can start arranging the destroying this object itself, this MDLG object. What we can do here is that we can because obviously this view owns this object, so it's best that this view is actually destroying this object. The view owns this, creates this object and owns it, so it's best that this dialog just sends some kind of message to the view that, hey, can you destroy me? Something like that. Can you destroy me, please? So let's send the message to the parent. First of all, let's check that the parent pointer, which is here, this one. So this should be pointing to the parent, which is the view. But we never know, you know. This function cannot know for 100% sure that this pointer is correct. So that's why we always double check things. So I'm gonna first check that the pointer is okay. it's really pointing to the parent window. So that's why I'm saying that I'm taking that M parent, okay. Now we need to be calling this exactly this view, this Notepad X view, but the problem here is that we stored the pointer, sorry, in the wrong place. We stored it as the parent window pointer. So we need to change this pointer to the Notepad view pointer. We can do it. The way to do is that std dynamic cast. Dynamic cast is checking that is this really a child of this parent. It's checking that the relationship is correct. So here we can put because we need this kind of pointer, because we need to be calling that class in a moment. And I did something. I should have done like this. Move those parent like that. Yeah, that's the way to go. And first of all, it doesn't see that because we haven't included that parent class. So let's include that parent class first. It will be this Notepad X view. Okay. So this dynamic cast is now changing this parent type of pointer to the child type of pointer, because this class, it is a view, and view is a CWND. So this is actually a CWND kind of window. So that's why we can do this conversion. This dynamic cast is checking that is this really a child of this child class of this WND. So now we need to check that is this pointer valid. So if it's valid, the conversion was done successfully, then we can call the parent somehow. So now the question is that what do we want to do? We want to tell the parent window that this find dialog needs to be deleted. And there is a mistake here. It's not std. It's like that. Let's compile now. See what's the situation. And there is an error. If I go there. So now at the moment it's complaining in the view. It's complaining about the document that it can't see. This happens when we are doing some includes backwards and forwards. But this can be solved by just forward declaring this class like this. The include is in a CPP file, so forward declaration is enough here. Okay, and that's fixed. And now we go back here. So now we need to create a function in the view. It needs to be a public function because that dialog needs to call that. I will call that find dialog deleted. Find dialog deleted. Actually, the Windows is actually deleted. Find dialog. Maybe I just call it find dialog window deleted. So the window is deleted. Now we need to delete the object itself. And let's put the implementation here, the CPP file. So basically what we need to do here is that we need to delete that object which was created by the unique pointer here. The way to delete unique pointer is that we can say reset, and if we put null pointer here, that means that we are assigning a new value to this pointer. That means that the old old object will be destroyed automatically by the unique pointer. So this is doing the trick. When we set this one to point somewhere else, then the old object will be destroyed by the unique pointer. So now the object is destroyed. It's just that one more thing here. What I'm thinking here is that now anybody can call this function. This is a view function, and it's a public function. That is a little bit problem here, that it's a public function here. So anybody can call this function. It's a public function. So like the mainframe can call it, anybody. But we don't want just anybody to do this operation. We want to have some private things here. So we are thinking that only this dialog is allowed to destroy this object. That's what we are thinking at the moment. So how to do that? Well, we can make it more secure by sending the pointer who wants to delete it. So only if this find dialog object is deleting, then we will do this. Otherwise not. To do that, we can put the pointer to the find dialog. Find DLG and I need to also put it here. Okay, so now how we can check that? So how we can check that the caller of this function is this one, because it needs to be this one which was created here. This caller needs to be the same object. So we can check it by saying that, first of all, if this find dialog still exists, we always need to check that does it actually exist, that find dialog. And if the pointer of this one, so the pointer of the unique pointer is a raw pointer we used to get. If the pointer equals to the calling pointer, then we know that it's the dialog what it should be, and then we will destroy that calling. They destroy this find dialog object. And now let's go back here and call that thing. So now it should find it. So now we are passing this pointer of this calling object. This is the pointer of this class object. So now actually the creation and deletion might work now. Let's see if it works. So I'm gonna run it, compile, okay, and then Control F5, and I'm gonna launch it. Aha, nothing happened. And nothing happened because by default, when we are creating this dialog window from the resource, by default the setting is such that it is hidden. So if we go here, we can change that from here. There's the visible, and we can see that specifies that the dialog will be initially visible. So because this was false, it was hidden by default. So if we set this true and compile it, and now do the same thing, there it is, and then we can close it and launch it again, and it seems to cancel. So it seems to all work. And if I place it there, now we can see that now everything works here. We can operate here, and we can also operate with the background window. So other way to do the same thing would be, let's say that we have it false here. There's another way to do the same thing. We could just say here, show window, and that will do the same thing. Also, we can hide that window. I think, so this one is expecting, what kind of variable is it? Okay, so it's show window, show. I think it's show. Let's try that. So now the resource is false, but I'm doing this one here, so it should now show it also. If I go here and yeah, there we go. So it's up to you how you want to do this. And, I would probably just go here and set that by default it's visible. Let's continue. So so let's just do very simple. Finally, in this part, let's just do very simple test that this communication works really. And what would be a good test? Let's say that when we are in a find dialog, we will put some text, type some text, and we press that button, and then we will print that text on the view. How about that? So in order to do that one, we need to have this is just for testing purposes. I will be removing this later. So for testing purposes, I will quickly create here a text variable and then we will draw it somewhere in the view. So I'll just put it here. Lastly, I will draw the text, so it's going to be text out. And put it there, and let's put it 10, place it in the place 10. Let's put it how about 500 then? Let's put 400, 300. Okay. And let's do this. So now we need to go back to the dialog, and one of the buttons, when one of the buttons is pressed, which will be the find next button. Let's say that when we press the find next button, we want to do that such that I will show it from the program first. So when I go here, I do this one, and then I say hello. And when I press this button, we want to see the hello here. That's the thing what we want to do here. So let's do that, and let's do so that we do that hello, and then the white window responds back and puts here that done, like this. How about that? So that's the communication that we say here hello, hello, and press that button, and we want to see hello here in the white window in the view, and then the view immediately sends back message here, and it sets this one something like this. I don't know, something like this. It updates this one like that. Let's do that. Okay, so when we press the button, we come here, and from here we will be calling that parent. We can use the same method as we used here. I'll put that same code here. So we are first getting the right kind of pointer, converting this one to the Notepad view pointer, checking that the pointer is valid, and if it's valid, then we're gonna just change that text. This one, it's in a public section, so we can do that. And now we need to take that text from the find what variable contains that string in that edit box. I'm gonna copy that, but before I do that one, I need to say update here, update data, because the update data takes the current value in that window and places it into that variable. Update data actually. And after that we need to update the view so that the white window will redraw or update the window. That's why I'm gonna call here that update invalidate, and then we're gonna say update window. That's it. let's see if this works this way. Let's see that if the dialog is able to send that text into the window and command it to draw it. So I say hello. It works. So there's the hello. So now what we want to do is that the white window is able to communicate with, backwards and send a message to this dialog box that change it to, let's say, this one. Okay, so to do that we need to that's an interesting question. Who is gonna do that? It's in order to do this one, actually we need to create a function, to be honest with you here. We can't just update it like that. Let's create a quick function here, set text, and use this instead, text, and then we will update that here instead, because this function can then do the callback. That's why I'm using a function instead. So now the function actually can do the update and invalidate an update. That's even better actually. It's better to do here, by the way. It's better that this window is updating itself rather than the dialog doing it. This is actually a better way to do it. And after we update it, then we're gonna do backwards. We're gonna call that dialog back, and the dialog should have that variable, this one, to find what. It's in a public section, so we can directly call it from here. So let's put those stars there. I think it's a Unicode, so we need to put this T, and we can put the stars there like that. But now we need to update the update false here, because the view needs to be updated. It is in a variable now, but the window drawing needs to be updated. To update the drawing of the window, we say update data, and we put false here. True would be the other way around, reading from the window to the variable, and this is the other way around. So now if I run it, it should work. Okay, go here. I say hello. Oh, I think I know. Did I call that function? I did not. I did not call that function. That's why nothing happened. I think so. Yes, I didn't change this part, so I need to call here the function instead. So that goes set text, and we're gonna use that text, and I can delete that line now. How about now? Okay, Control F5. Hello. And there's the response. So the view responded back by 3 stars. Okay, so this is a very simple example how to create that. It's not very simple because I put many buttons here. Sorry, but I mean that at least we created only the find window, which is a modeless dialog, and it's able to. We can delete that, and we can create it again as many times as we want, and they are able to communicate. So all is now, the basics are working here. So I think that many people are happy now here, but I will be continuing with the development of that full notepad, like we are reading from here. Here's the full version. So I will be continuing with this version in the next video. So there will be some interesting stuff coming, so I hope that people are interested also, like I'm interested. Okay, thank you for watching, and bye bye.